When you send Bitcoin, what actually happens behind the scenes? From your side, it looks simple. You type in an address, enter an amount, hit send, and a few minutes later, the other person has it. Done, right? Behind that single tap is a fascinating global process. Your wallet builds a message. A digital signature is created using cryptography. That message travels to thousands of computers around the world. Specialized participants called miners compete to bundle it into a block. And that block gets permanently added to a chain of records stretching back to 2009. In this video, we're going to walk through every single one of those steps, clearly, slowly, and without drowning you in jargon. Let's get into it. What is a Bitcoin transaction? First, let's get one thing straight. Bitcoin doesn't move the way a physical coin moves from one hand to another. A Bitcoin transaction is essentially a message to the network. It says, the Bitcoin currently controlled by this address should now be controlled by that address. There's no coin flying through the internet. What changes is a record, a public record, on a distributed database called the blockchain. Think of it like a massive public spreadsheet that thousands of computers all hold a copy of. A transaction is just an update to that spreadsheet. With that foundation in place, let's walk through the process step by step. Step 1. The sender opens a wallet. It starts with you, the sender, opening a Bitcoin wallet. A wallet isn't a place where Bitcoin is stored like a bank account. It's more like a tool that holds your keys and helps you interact with the Bitcoin network. You enter 3 things. 1. The recipient's Bitcoin address, a long string of letters and numbers that acts like a destination. 2. The amount of Bitcoin you want to send. 3. A transaction fee, a small amount paid to incentivize miners to process your transaction faster. The wallet then gets to work, building the transaction behind the scenes. Step 2. The wallet checks your available balance. Before anything is sent, the wallet needs to confirm you actually have enough Bitcoin to send. Bitcoin doesn't track balances the way a bank does. Instead, it works with what are called UTXOs, unspent transaction outputs. That might sound complicated, so here's the simple version. Every time you received Bitcoin in the past, that incoming amount was recorded as an output, a chunk of Bitcoin connected to your keys. A UTXO is just Bitcoin that came in and hasn't been spent yet. Your wallet adds up all those unspent chunks to calculate what you can actually send. It's a bit like counting bills in your wallet instead of checking a balance on a screen. Step 3. The transaction is signed. Now comes one of the most important steps, signing the transaction. Every Bitcoin wallet has a private key, a secret piece of data that only you should ever know. Your private key is what gives you control over your Bitcoin. The wallet uses your private key to create a digital signature, a unique mathematical proof that says, the person who controls this Bitcoin has authorized this transaction. Critically, the private key itself never leaves your wallet. The signature is what gets sent, and anyone on the network can verify the signature is valid without ever seeing the private key. This is the magic of cryptographic signatures. Here's an important note. Whoever controls the private key controls the Bitcoin. If you lose it or someone else gets it, there's no password reset, no customer support line. This is why protecting your private key and your wallet's recovery phrase is so essential. Step 4. The transaction is broadcast to the network. Once your wallet has built and signed the transaction, it broadcasts it to the Bitcoin network. The Bitcoin network is made up of thousands of computers around the world called nodes. These nodes are run by individuals, businesses, and organizations. Anyone who wants to participate in keeping the network running. Your transaction doesn't go to one central server. It ripples outward, your wallet tells a few nodes, those nodes tell more nodes, and within seconds, the transaction has spread across the globe. Step 5. Nodes validate the transaction. When nodes receive your transaction, they don't just accept it blindly. They run it through a series of checks. Is the digital signature valid? Does it match the address spending the Bitcoin? Has this Bitcoin already been spent? The network protects against double spending. Does the transaction follow the network's rules? Format, structure, fees, all reviewed. If your transaction passes all these checks, the node accepts it as valid and passes it along to other nodes. If something is wrong, an invalid signature, an attempt to spend the same Bitcoin twice, the transaction is rejected and goes nowhere. Step 6. The transaction waits in the mempool. Once a transaction is validated by nodes, it enters something called the mempool, short for memory pool. Think of the mempool as a waiting room. Hundreds or thousands of unconfirmed transactions sit here, waiting to be picked up and included in a block. Miners, the participants responsible for adding new blocks, look at this pool and decide which transactions to include. They typically prioritize transactions with higher fees, because fees are part of their reward. If you set a very low fee, your transaction might sit in the mempool for a while during busy periods. If you set a higher fee, you're more likely to be picked up quickly. Step 7. Miners add transactions to a block. Here's where miners come in. A miner gathers a set of transactions from the mempool and bundles them into a candidate block. But they can't just add it to the blockchain immediately. They have to earn the right to do so. This is where proof of work comes in. Miners have to solve a computationally intensive puzzle. They run their candidate block through a mathematical function over and over, adjusting a small variable each time until they find an output that meets the network's current requirements. This process requires enormous amounts of computing power and energy, but it's also what makes the network secure. Cheating is extraordinarily expensive. We'll cover proof of work in much more depth in a separate video. For now, just know, miners compete, one wins, and they get to add the next block. Step 8. The block is added to the blockchain. When a miner finds a valid solution, they immediately share the new block with the network. Other nodes receive the block, verify that everything inside it is valid, and, if it checks out, add it to their own copy of the blockchain. This is the moment your transaction becomes confirmed. It's now part of the permanent public record. Step 9. Confirmations begin. One confirmation means your transaction has been included in one block. Every new block that gets added after that counts as an additional confirmation. Why does this matter? Because reversing a transaction would require rewriting the blockchain from that point forward, which would mean outpacing the entire rest of the network. The more confirmations a transaction has, the more blocks would need to be rewritten, and the more computationally impossible that becomes. For small transactions, 1 or 2 confirmations is typically sufficient. For larger amounts, waiting for 6 or more confirmations is a common standard. Step 10. The receiver sees the Bitcoin. On the other end, the recipient's wallet is constantly watching the blockchain for any transactions connected to their addresses. Once your transaction is confirmed in a block, their wallet detects it and updates the displayed balance accordingly. The receiver now has control of that Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin transactions are hard to reverse? One of Bitcoin's core design features is transaction finality. Once a transaction is confirmed in a block, reversing it would require taking control of more than half of the entire network's computing power, rewriting the block containing your transaction, and then rebuilding every single block that came after it, all while the rest of the network continues adding new blocks. This is called a 51% attack, and it becomes more and more difficult as confirmation count grows and as the network's total computing power increases. For practical purposes, confirmed Bitcoin transactions are considered irreversible. This is a feature for security and trust, but it also means that if you send Bitcoin to the wrong address, there's no way to get it back through the network. Common mistakes beginners make. A few things worth knowing before you ever send Bitcoin sending to the wrong address. Bitcoin addresses are long and easy to mistype. Always double check, ideally by scanning a QR code or triple checking the first and last few characters. Using the wrong network, some wallets support multiple networks. Make sure you're sending on the correct one. Not understanding fees. Setting a fee that's too low during busy periods can leave your transaction stuck in the mempool for hours or even days. Thinking pending means failed. A pending transaction is just waiting. It hasn't been lost. Give it time. Not backing up recovery information. Your wallet's recovery phrase is the master key. If you lose your device and haven't backed it up, access to your funds may be gone permanently. Back it up. Store it safely. What looks like a simple tap of a button is actually a global decentralized process running on cryptography, game theory, and computing power, with no central authority in charge. If this step-by-step explanation made Bitcoin transactions easier to understand, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which Bitcoin topic you want explained next.